I'd like to acknowledge the Birrarung people as the traditional owners of the land where this recording was made. Over the past few months, I've been walking through reserves around Melbourne, Naomie, and recording conversations along the way. I've met with traditional owners and First Nations peoples, conservationists, ecologists, and others who've chosen a place that matters to them. We walk and talk about nature, what lives there, what's changed, and what needs protecting. You'll hear our footsteps, the wind in the trees, the birds overhead, and the city not too far away. This is Finding Melbourne's Nature. This time, we're at Westgate Park in Port Melbourne, beneath the Westgate Bridge. It's one of the city's more unusual landscapes. Wetlands, salt lakes that turn pink, and grasslands sitting alongside industry, shipping containers, and the constant movement of a freeway overhead. For a long time, this was a heavily modified, neglected site. A landscape shaped by landfill and industry right on the edge of the Birrarung. What's here now is a result of decades of work. Volunteers turning up week after week, planting, restoring, and rebuilding this place from the ground up. At the centre of that is Naomie Sunner, who in the late 1990s, as a young woman, led and established the Friends of Westgate Park, and played a key role in transforming this landscape. The group is still active today, an incredible community continuing that work and caring for this place. In this episode, we walk together and hear how that work began and what it took to build something lasting here. It's a story that actually starts with a walk, a 7-day walk along the Birrarung, taken by young Naomie, who found herself here at the river's edge just before dawn. Let's hear it from her.
Yeah, so I was a fine arts student studying photography. I just read Robin Davidson's tracks. I don't know, I was 20, there was lots of stuff going on in my life. I needed something to change, and I read that tracks and felt inspired. My mother used to drag me when I was a kid to the gallery and just would sit in front of that Frederick McCubbin image. You know, it's not called The Settlers, I can't remember what it's called now. Brain vacated. That triptych though, that famous one.
Yeah.
And I guess those things just kind of melded. And so I decided to do a walk along the Yarra River for 7 days. And we're going to get there because I'm dragging you around the park actually.
Great.
But yeah, the spot I got, I took a taxi to the first spot, which was near the mouth of the Yarra River.
Yes.
And I walked for 7 days. I did stay sometimes at people's houses, but I did also stay on the river, which was interesting. Yeah, so I got dumped there, dropped off there. And, it was pre-dawn and I hung out there for a while before I went on my walk. And I took photos. So I was taking photos of myself, like a woman in the city, but with that kind of Frederick McCubbin-esque settler kind of explorer vibe. And yeah, I guess it was a pretty amazing walk and 7 days of just walking on my own. And when I finished, I came back to have a look at that and I just felt really inspired and kind of quite emotional that it was a really important site. And it was just a derelict wasteland. Wow, it's looking different here. I almost feel a bit lost. Yeah, so, I was, learning about native plants and stuff. So I joined a couple of friends groups. Oh, where's the friends group at Westgate Park? And, I was young and keen. So rang up Parks Vic and was like, where is the friends group? We don't have one. So I was like, well, I want to do some planting. And then I just got stuck.
Yeah.
Then I'd started and I didn't stop.
Some nice grasses around here.
Yeah, so it's good to see the grasses surviving because they were my thing.
And so when you first started planting, how'd you get from there, saying you want to start the Friends group, to being able to enact things?
Well, there's a lot of grants at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So Natural Heritage Trust was a thing.
Yep.
And Melbourne water grants. So we got some grants to get plants and skink, which is now Billy Nursery. But skink, I volunteered there and learnt about plants and bought plants from them.
Mm-hmm.
And roped in a whole bunch of people to plant plants.
Yeah, right.
That was just the first couple of years, where it was just kind of me and a few people helping occasionally.
Yeah. What was your plant knowledge when you started the journey?
Not very good.
Yeah, okay.
Not very good at all. Like I'd started to learn a bit. It probably took me about 30 times to remember Power Lab was Power Lab. It took me another 10 years to be able to pronounce the whole Labyrinthariae. Yeah, and I pretty much only chocolate lily. That was the first plant that I really remember.
Wow.
Because chocolate lily can eat it.
It's a good one to start with.
Yeah, and I remember I went to Vinc to a planting and I asked them, is this a poa, a stiper or a wallaby grass? And they said it was something else. And I was like, how are there so many grasses? But now, I really quite like the grasses. Yeah, so after a couple of years, I was working doing bush regen with a mob.
Yeah.
And here.
Yep.
And, here on weekends, every third Sunday, I think it was.
Mm.
And a guy phoned up and said, I'd like to come to your planting.
Mm-hmm.
It was pissing with rain, and I had this thing where when I wasn't working, I'd just wear whatever.
Yep.
So I was like wearing velvet and this ridiculously thick cardigan.
Yep.
And it was pouring with rain.
Yep.
We were planting around the salt marsh. And I was just like, no, we're just going to keep going. And he thought I was mad. So this is George.
Yep.
And he was like, she needs help. She's mad, but she's fun. And she needs help. Then I got put on a Work for the Dole program.
Mm-hmm.
And the supervisor didn't rock up for 3 hours.
Yep.
And so I went back to the mob and said, that's crap, I've got a better plan.
Yep.
Can I run one? So I was like 23 and running a Work for the Dole program.
And they accepted it. You put this idea out there and
Yeah.
they went, go for it.
Yeah, I was pretty shoddy actually.
That's huge though. What innovation,
Yeah, it was interesting because there's a lot of, it was me and a lot of guys over 40.
Yep. Okay.
Which was very interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for those years, like George, and then after a couple of years, George's partner Tony started being more regular as well. And there was the three of us, and we had every Monday, Tuesday, we had volunteers and a Work for the Dole crew, and then Green Corps crews, and Tony, total mover and shaker, deal maker.
Yeah.
He'd get corporate volunteers who would pay to come.
Wow.
Ridiculous days. There's 100 Telstra volunteers coming. You're like, what are we going to do? There was lots of, no, you do have to take the plant out of the pot before you plant it kind of experiences. But it was really, like, George and Tony were probably full-time volunteers for a long time. And I worked part-time here and was part-time a volunteer. And it was very mulched, which isn't necessarily great. But all the soil here is really fake. But it was very well cared for.
Mm. How did you go running those Work for the Dole teams with?
It was interesting.
Yeah.
I think, as you could probably tell, a lot of it was just like, oh yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
And then I started doing it and went, oh well, that's what I'm doing now. I didn't really kind of pause and go, am I qualified? Can I do this? There was none of that. There was but I did ask a lot of questions of people. I had, George, he knew a lot. He'd done this kind of work before. I was learning a lot through doing bush regen, work elsewhere. And yeah, there was a couple of friends groups that their leaders were my mentors for a while on how to do things. And of course, the women at Skink.
Yeah.
They were incredible, a really incredible resource, and taught me lots. And I'd go out seed collecting with them and, lots of different things. Yeah.
An amazing group, hey? And how important were mentors to you at the time?
Oh, vital. Like, completely vital. I mean, you can't do any of this on your own, and I just kind of had I'm going to do this, yeah, kind of. But, yeah, I mean, without them, obviously, I wouldn't have been able to learn. I wouldn't have been able to have support with what I was doing, and we wouldn't have had a team. Yeah, they're extremely important.
Seems like you're pretty comfortable with leadership from an early age.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Seems like you're a natural.
Yeah, I don't know. My grassland. I'm so happy.
You happy?
This was an area that, so it was often, planting with big crews. I mean, obviously the original grassland's kind of gone. But, there was a lot of time of planting with big crews. But this was a site, and you're always with people, blah, blah, but this was a site that I would plant on my own. So I'd be like, I'm just going to work on my little grassland for a few hours.
Yeah.
So it was a little sanctuary, and it's nice to have it still here, even though its original grasses are all gone.
And to paint the picture, we're almost quite nearly directly under the Westgate Bridge. Almost, would you say?
Yeah, pretty much.
And there's this beautiful grassland.
And there's Tetratheca.
Way! That's something I wouldn't expect to see moments from the CBD.
No.
Aringinum.
Yeah.
I love these species.
Lionum and the Podolepis. Neil Blake, oh my God, he was an incredible mentor.
Yeah.
I can't believe I forgot him. But he was actually the first person to kind of make a connection and get us some funding. And I think the money was from Holden, I might be wrong, because it was a while ago.
Yeah.
And he worked on the plant list there, and there was Birrarung, and George and I banned planting it anywhere else in the park because we needed to keep socks.
As you're doing that walk, I guess it was exposing you to areas that were probably close to you but you'd never seen before.
Yeah.
Were you surprised by the wildness?
Yeah, definitely. And I had some interactions with some animals along the way, birds and wombats and a kangaroo. There was this young teenager, Geo Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Who put a whole lot of nest boxes here. Yeah, early 2010s.
Wow.
Late 2000s.
So what was the timeline for the start and end of your involvement in...
So I started...
No, not the end, sorry.
So 98, 99.
98, 99, right. So in 98, 99, a 20-year-old you is working out this journey along the Yarra.
Yep, and so
You're wrong.
By the time I started the friends group, I turned 21. So that 19-year-old thing, I don't know where that's coming from.
That is tremendous drive. So how big did the group grow while you were there?
So there was George, Tony and I. And there was a lot of regular volunteers. So we probably had, a core group of, there was the work for the dog, but we probably had about 15 to 20 people most Mondays and Tuesdays.
Yeah, great.
And the committee became quite a bit of a powerhouse.
Yeah, right.
Lecky Ord, she was mayor of City of Melbourne. I think she might have been the first female mayor of the City of Melbourne. So she became involved. And she was working with us. She wasn't like governance only. She was moving mulch, planting plants.
That's great.
She was on the ground, but she was also helping with governance. And then Janet Blytho, who again used to be the mayor of City of Port Phillip, and Lynn Allison, who was leader of the Democrats.
Yep.
So there's like all these politicians involved for a while, and then me, much younger than everyone. So for a long time I was more than half as young as everyone involved. Yeah, so they managed to get lots of contacts with, but I did learn so much from all of those people and was very supported by them as well.
And I imagine your knowledge must have just been an exponential growth pattern sort of thing during this period. You're just learning and learning?
Yes. Yes. And there was lots of space in my brain then, so it was easier. Yeah, learning a lot.
Was there much room for experimentation with what you were doing here?
Oh my God, that was all it was. So, I mean, I don't know, I mean, maybe some of the things we were doing weren't proper and right, but at the same time, this site was just, like, there is apparently 2 semi-trailer loads of bow ties under one of the mounds at the front. We tried to move a mound and we found half a tram there.
Oh my God.
So it's just kind of like a dumping ground.
Yeah.
So George and I came up with this idea of having all these different ecosystems from within a 5 to 10k radius around this site. So this was the coastal Banksia woodland.
Wow.
And of course, because I wrote some of the plant lists, there was loads and loads of coast Banksia and the lepidosperma.
Wow.
I love lepidosperma.
Doesn't it look good here too? Like it does feel like a coastal Banksia woodland. And I should point out, as you're listening, you're probably hearing the sounds of not only the freeway and the birds, but also industry, which is just right next door, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's something that's really magical about this place, I think. That it's just this little pocket that's so important to the history of colonised Melbourne, but also so important to the traditional owners. So yeah, we're walking to where I would have been dropped off.
Really?
And the fact that it is just so important, but was so neglected, was just such a blank canvas.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just on that experimentation, I think I just had, there was kind of almost nothing we could do wrong because it was so, the soil wasn't original, there wasn't many original plants, we could just do whatever. And it's going to have to be better than what it was.
Yeah.
Yes, so this is where I would have been dropped off, just out there.
So, like, this is a time when you weren't on Google Maps. You must have worked this out on a Melways, or how did you figure out where to get dropped?
Yeah, I had pulled out. I'm the child of 2 librarians, so I respect books. But I did have a Melways that I ripped out all the pages of the Yarra.
Oh, really?
In my pocket as I walked.
Really? That's what you were utilising? Amazing.
Yeah, so I didn't have a mobile phone on me.
Wow.
I told my mum I had one, but I didn't. Don't tell her. I mean, it's a long time ago. She probably knows now that I didn't have it. But she'd given me one because she knew I was doing the walk. But I kind of lied a little bit about the extent of what I was doing. My goodness, look at this beautiful beast of an Banksia.
That's magic, isn't it? Look at that. That's huge.
Hello, friend.
I can see a street name.
Yeah, so Sardine Street. I think this might be Salmon Street.
Between Salmon and Sardine Street. You got dropped here.
Yeah.
And what was in your pack with you?
Okay, that's a memory. I would have had just a sleeping bag and a tarp. I didn't have a tent. I wanted to carry as little as possible. I was such a lazy camper. I was just like, I can't be asked carrying things.
So
a loaf of veggie bread from Bobka Bakery was all I ate.
Really?
For a week. Which I was really shocked.
Oh, hang on, that just settled in. That's all you ate for a week?
Well, no, because I got dropped off at people's houses sometimes.
Yeah.
or I was at people's houses. I did eat at their places, but mostly I just had that. I was pretty poor, and I'd spent all my money on film.
So you've got a sleeping bag, a tarp, a couple of pages of the Melway.
A camera, a tripod,
yes,
and a whole lot of film.
Wow.
A water bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a spare pair of socks and undies
Yep.
in case. I don't know, but not much else.
And it's just in a backpack, or?
Yeah, so I had like one of those army, like the green canvas. Looks real rustic.
Yeah, that would look cool, actually.
Yeah. Not particularly comfortable.
No. And was any of this coastal Banksia?
No.
Wow, so this whole coastal Banksia woodland, which looks fantastic, by the way. It's got clematis, it's got coast Banksias, she oaks, everything.
Lasiopetalum, look at that.
Wow.
Aren't they stunning?
Yes. So none of this was here. You're just walking through, what, a paddock here?
Yeah.
With weeds?
Just grassy and herbaceous weeds.
Wow.
So yeah, none of the pomaderus, the leptospermums, the atriplex, none of it.
So these she oaks were planted by you and the group?
Yeah. Look,
Jeez.
I mean, it was all flat. I mean, there might have been one or two ukes, but I'm pretty sure it was just all flat.
And that's a mooner in there too.
Yeah.
Geez, they've done well. They look they're a decent size.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were planting... So some of this area would have been planted in the mid-2000s.
Yeah, okay.
So I think, I think most of the planting that's happened in this park would have been from, I don't know, maybe 2002 or something to 2015. So I think, there's still people there, but as Tony got ill, he and George were here 5 days a week pretty much. But yeah, we used to plant 20,000 plants a year.
Wow.
For quite a while.
And they were all sourced from the local nursery, or?
From Skink.
From Skink.
Oh, and we had a nursery, so we grew some ourselves as well. I managed to grow Astroloma humifusum from seed. I was very excited.
That's cool.
It was very cool.
And what was your role in the nursery?
At Skink?
No, the one that you had here.
Oh, we all just potted. I mean, I was always a seed collector. So after we'd finished working for the day in seed collection season, we had bikes. So you'd ride the bike around with plastic, paper bags and collect seed. So, I mean, there wasn't like a official role of any kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty, we just kind of did what we did.
Yeah.
There wasn't, except for the Monday, Tuesday, this is our work plan. Any other day we were here was just kind of play.
I had to ask Naomie, how did she have the will and determination to do all this?
I just had this real hard head of, stuff. I don't know.
But don't you think that hard head is why we're here now?
Probably. Doesn't always make you friends.
Yeah. I'm happy if it makes forest though.
It was interesting, the Millennium Drought.
Yeah.
George and Tony were got permission to drain Albert Park Lake and water stuff here.
Yeah.
So they'd drive to Albert Park Lake with 1,000 litre tank on the back of their Range Rover.
Yeah.
And come in and we'd water plants. But interestingly, all the trees that had an encolina under them,
Yeah.
they were the ones that survived the best.
All right.
It's really good mulch. It is a big park. There's lots of little bits.
Do you know the size?
For ages we were saying it was 40 hectares. Oh no, I think it was 60 hectares, but the go-kart track was part of it.
Okay.
And I think it's 40, but I'm not 100% sure. I know that there was some kind of clarification at some point, but for a long time we were saying 40 hectares. So
It feels massive.
yeah, it is around that anyway.
How long did you stay with the group, or are you still a member?
I'm not. I started studying, so I did a Masters of Environment for 7 years part-time while I was at Bink.
Wow.
And it was just, the group was going great guns, so just moved on.
So did this park here influence your career choices after that?
Oh my God, completely. Like I wouldn't, I don't know if I'd be working with plants if it wasn't for that walk.
Yep.
It completely changed my life. And I'm obsessed. I love plants. Yeah, so this is the billabongs that Tony and others got funding for. Wow, it is really foresty, isn't it?
It's really foresty. I'm super impressed.
Yeah, so these ponds all kind of go through to each other. Not that you can really see, there's probably clogged up a bit.
But they serve vital habitat. Like they're...
Oh yeah. There was some acacia Mearnseyis that were dying, as they do, and there was 2 days of the yellow-tailed black cockatoos ripping them to shreds, dangerous to walk under, throwing big branches around, and then they all came back because they'd obviously taken the grubs out, lived for a couple more years.
Wow. Would you have any thoughts for people who might be thinking about getting into conservation or joining a friends group or starting a friends group?
Don't think if you're starting a friends group, just do it. Don't think about how much work it's going to be. I don't know. I just think there's something... I think part of the reason I'm not here anymore is because this is not my locale.
Yep.
I've always lived in the north. But it's just so important to feel that you belong to something and it belongs to you and that you're part of a landscape. The changing of the seasons, the growth that occurs over time, it's pretty transformative. Yeah. It's extremely transformative. So I'd say go for it. And look after your back. I'd say that too. Look after your back.
This project's all about visiting these reserves around Melbourne and sort of getting a feel for how significant they are and how they were set up and people who've had a role in them. Do you have a thought about the significance of these little patches that we have left or that we've created?
Oh, it's phenomenally important. It's phenomenally important. Just if you don't have these places to reset, revive, I think we really lose touch with what humanity is. If you get off the screens for a tick. I mean, I do spend a lot of time on screens myself, but to connect with landscapes, so important. So important.
The walk you went on, where did it finish?
Exited Warrandyte State Park. Some parts of the walk took a really long time. I was stuck in a blackberry thicket in Ivanhoe for about an hour.
Really?
With the landowner, and I actually didn't realise, I kind of thought all land around the river was public, but I was actually in their property.
Oh.
I didn't know that until later.
Yeah.
Oops. But they were just watching me. It's really steep slope. But so some parts were very, very slow. And because the river's really windy, it takes a lot longer than A to B.
Did you know where you were getting to at the end?
Yeah, so I kind of figured maybe I'd done a trial. I don't remember, it was a long time ago, but I might have done a trial.
Yeah.
So I kind of had an idea of how much I could walk in a day. And I had, and because I was taking photos, it was so slow.
Your immediate thought was here, coming back to this place?
Yeah.
Wow. What do you think drew you to this part out of the whole stretch of the Birrarung that you came back to here?
Oh, it was definitely its significance culturally to both, the fact that it was the closest to the river mouth that you could get on this side. So its significance culturally to both First Nations people and for, the history of the colonial Melbourne. But it's also the fact that it was abandoned and in amongst the industry. There was something really kind of hypnotic about and quite, just a bit dystopian, but quite attractive for it.
Yeah.
To have that contrast. Because I am a city kid, I love nature, but I am a city kid and I love the city. So I quite liked that contrast. There's something, really quite funky about it.
I reckon Melbourne's a better place because of your walk. Don't you reckon? Like, seriously, like, if there hadn't have been the impetus to really improve this place, we wouldn't have restoration works that have been this old and this developed and birds as active. Like,
but I would have given up if it wasn't for a hell of a lot of people coming to my help and being part of it as well.
That's it. I love Westgate Park and I encourage you to get out there. Check out Westgate Biodiversity online and you can join the Friends group yourself. Also check out the City of Melbourne, who has some more information about Westgate Park. Please feel free to check out more episodes of Finding Melbourne's Nature on your favourite streaming platforms or on findingmelbournesnature.com. Thanks for joining us and look forward to visiting the next reserve with you all.